today's session, we're going to be talking about something that's, I think, is near and dear to everybody's heart in the industry, recovery, specifically retail recovery. And I've got three great retailers here who have various experiences that they're going to share. Well, let's start from Chicago. We have Kenneth Ludwig. Ken, how are you today?
Good, how are you? Welcome, everybody. And we are still closed, so I'm patiently waiting, trying to figure out when we can open. The governor says Friday, the mayor says maybe next week, so we're still in a holding pattern.
Oh man, yeah, I'm sure this has just been pins and needles.
Yep, 2.5 months approaching.
All right, next we have from Greenville, South Carolina, owner of Madison Company, Laurie Powers. Laurie, your store opened back up right around Mother's Day, right?
She's muted.
Uh-oh, Laurie, your audio is not on.
Gonna have to call her friend again. We're gonna need to get flashcards that say audio.
I know.
Yep. You like the Charlie Chaplin movies.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Laurie, you need to move your cursor down to the bottom of your screen so you can see your microphone. Do you see it, like the little menu pop up at the bottom of your screen when you move your cursor, and then unmute yourself?
you just muted yourself.
Yeah, can you hear
There
me?
you are.
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Repeat, please.
I was just saying that we opened the week of Mother's Day, and you get a little wrapped up in yourself, and I forget that so many places still aren't open. And one of my employees just got back from Virginia, where she met a friend from Pennsylvania who also owns a business, and I forget, like, she's still closed. And it's definitely not the same here, but it's weird to think other places still aren't even open yet.
Yep.
And then finally, we have from the greater Cincinnati area, I believe, Springboro?
I'm in Springboro, right? Hamilton, and the east side of Cincinnati. I've got 3 locations, yeah.
Yeah, we have Debra Campbell, owner of Fleurish Home. Debra, how are you? You're back open as well.
Yes,
correct?
We've been open a week.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to all of that here in a bit. But first, let's set the stage a little bit. And Debra, since we just introduced you, we'll start with you. When this virus is coming, it's serious. How did you start preparing? When the serious of the virus and its destructive capabilities became clear.
Well, in Ohio was one of the first states to close. So I felt like our governor was really kind of setting the pace for a lot of other states around us. So we really didn't have anyone to refer to make those decisions. So we closed the stores, and I just started communicating in every possible way that I could with our customers to let them know that we were not going out of business, and that we could help them, over the phone or online or something like that. We just couldn't do in-person things. Everything had to be no contact. But I wanted to make sure that they knew that we realized that birthdays were not going to be canceled and anniversaries were not going to be canceled, and all of that there. So if there was anything that we could do to still be of assistance to them, that we would. And then we just tried to provide a lot of just communication and not really selling.
Right, well, Kenneth, I know around mid-March we spoke briefly, right
Yeah.
about the time that everything started closing up and people were starting to hunker down a bit. What was the process like on your end?
Same, pretty much as Deborah's as well too. Was just trying to get a clear message either from the governor or the mayor, because again they're running fairly parallel to each other, but there were some a little bit of miscommunication. So it was just the same thing, reaching out to clients. you know your deposits are fine. The factories probably will eventually start maybe closing down around 2, but don't worry, I'll just keep you up to date on what those extensions in your upholstery timeline will look like. And then really just, same thing, reaching out and saying, we're here, let us know what you need. I'll do some gift baskets, or I'll create some packages. And we actually had sold, our chamber got involved in a big gift certificate campaign. And so thankfully, probably for the first 2 to 3 weeks, we really actually did sell a lot of gift certificates, which, obviously just helps the bottom line. So that, and, again, just, we're here, here's some new lines that we're picking up, here's some new categories. These are things that have come into the showroom. Not a hard sale, just kind of while you're stuck in your house, look at this. So that was kind of our game plan, and that's what's pretty much just continued all the way through until we're open.
All right, well, Laurie, what was set the stage for us, in Greenville? How quickly did the order come down that, hey, you've got to close up for a little while? What steps did you take to prepare? And, what has your communication process looked like?
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there. I mean, or I couldn't hear the last part. I'm so sorry. I think someone needs to mute there.
And yeah, if everybody would, except for Kenneth and Laurie and Debra, mute yourselves, turn your cameras off. Going back to it, how quickly did did it come around that, you're going to have to shut down for a little while? What was that process like? What was your communication strategy like while you were closed?
I bet a lot of other people are probably just generally a lot more organized than I am. So for me, it was just kind of like, we closed about a week earlier than we had to because our business had died. I'm in South Carolina, where the government's the last to do any. They're not as progressive. That may surprise you, but so you kind of had to judge for yourself. So we did close about a week earlier than we actually had to, and it was truly like a day by day kind of thing, just like now, just like everybody's life. It was just like, okay, yeah, today let's just shut down because our business was so bad. We had to kind of think about what was going to happen, but it never really. I think because it's hard to wrap your mind around everything. It wasn't even so much about health at the time, if that makes sense. That didn't really hit hard till a little later. So for us, it was just day to day, and then one day we were like, okay, let's cut it here and start doing something else.
All right, and you were among some of the first stores to reopen. Being in South Carolina, what was the sequencing strategy there? You got word that okay, you're going to be allowed to reopen. What kind of steps did you follow to get back?
I mean, of course, I've been really surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot more. We didn't have much warning, so it was like found out on a Friday, we could open the next week. And we did all the cleaning, and we made sure all our customers knew we were doing that. We told them we understand if you're not comfortable coming back out. We're still love to do curbside service and everything, but I've been really surprised at how relaxed people are. Like, we have a big thing of hand sanitizer by the door for anybody. And people are, I mean, we're just not that smart in the South. We're just shopping away, and we're very protected here. We don't have it's not like a city where, it's a car society. So we have not been hit as hard as a lot of places. So we're probably pretty naive about what some places are having to do. So it's really been a pretty smooth opening. We are still cleaning and everything just to protect ourselves as much as the customers, I suppose. But the business is not the same. The business is not there yet. So people are self-quarantining still, which is good.
Mhm. All right. Well, Debra, you were the next of the three panelists to reopen. What went into ramping operations back up on your end? You've got multiple stores. A degree of difficulty there.
Yeah. So the week that we were allowed to open 2 weeks ago, and I was a little hesitant to do so. I wasn't sure if people were ready to get out yet, because it was, like in Laurie's case, very sudden. It was kind of announced, I think, on like Thursday or Friday that you could reopen on Monday, or Tuesday was the reopening. And so there really wasn't a lot of notice. And my concern was that if I bring back my team and nobody comes out and shops, then my payroll is going to be there and we're all going to be sitting around with nothing to do and no one to help. So I did a little bit of a test run, and I just scheduled hours at each store and bounced around that first week. And in response to that, I received several phone calls and emails, and the people that did come in said, when are you going to open every day again? We're anxious to have you open. So I thought, okay, I guess I'll open. And so we reopened last week. I said, okay, I polled my team to say who is comfortable coming back, because I did not want to bring anyone back that was concerned about their health. At this point, I did tell anyone that needed a face covering that I would provide that for them, communicated what our safety standards would be, which were pretty much what we were doing before we were told that we had to shut down anyway, just the extra cleaning and all of that. Even though I guess now the CDC has revised their guidelines on that, we are still cleaning just to make people feel very comfortable, and just it doesn't hurt to do that with anything. And it's been quiet. I will say it has been quiet. People are coming out, and what is surprising me the most is that some people are just coming out because they're just tired of being in their house, and they're not even buying anything. Like I'm like itching to spend money, and I don't even have the extra money, but if you haven't bought anything in 9 weeks, don't you want to buy something? I want to buy something. So I'm surprised how many people are just in like kind of browsing around. And we are required to wear masks or face coverings per the governor, the staff is, but our customers are not. And like in my town in Hamilton, I am the only store that is not requiring customers to wear a face covering, but I am offering private shopping hours for anyone that wants the extra safety guidelines. We are doing a lot of extra work to be open and be available for our customers in every possible way that they could want to shop with us. But I'm not sure. Now, the weather was really lousy last week. We had rain pretty much every day, so that may have had something to do with it too. It is smoking hot now this week. It was like 92 yesterday, bright sunshine. Feels like summer just all of a sudden smacked us in the face. So we'll see, what it's like as we approach the weekend, when we have nicer weather, if people are going to get out. We do a 5th Saturday promotion, which is on any month that has a 5th Saturday. Our VIP customers all have a really nice tote bag that I purchased and gave to them, and they are allowed to bring that tote bag in, and anything that fits in the tote bag, they get 20% off. And it's the only time that we do a store-wide sale is during that 5th Saturday just for our VIP customers, and we are going to do that. We're just recognizing that if someone wants to come in early or late because of health concerns, that we will schedule private shopping for them. And we may have to have some people wait outside because of our restricted capacity we can only have 50% occupancy. So we'll see what it is. We're not encouraging a crowd, but we're also not discouraging people to come out for that special day, because one, it means a lot to them to be able to do that, and two, it means a lot to us and our revenue stream to be able to have that day also. So we'll see.
All right. Well, Kenneth, you're of the three panelists here. You're the only one who's not open yet. What are you doing in anticipation of that day? And how close? You said it could be as soon as later this week or early next week.
Yeah, it could be as soon as Friday, could be into somewhere in the middle of June. I'm on my local chamber, so we've been working closely to kind of create a unified sign that can be posted at each one of our locations, pointing out that we will be required to wear masks, both obviously staff and then consumers coming in as well. A little bit more limited amount of shopping time. We're suggesting, 15, 20 minutes. So that way, maybe kind of like Debra, we might discourage some of the wandering around for hours and hours in the store and not purchasing anything, which again, we're totally happy about. But again, I want to make sure that people that do want to get in for a quick birthday gift, or now probably Father's Day, will be right up on top of it, that they'll have the opportunity. We again too have the same capacity issue. So with us, probably 5 to 6 people in the store at a time. And then that's going to be it. And then we've purchased disposable masks, gloves, hand sanitizers that will be right by the front door. And on this sign, we've just asked nicely for people to respect the businesses and the situation so that it doesn't turn political. I'm not in the mood to argue with somebody about wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. I don't need to be an Instagram story. I just, hopefully I think people will be good. But again, we had a fairly nice weekend here, and I just was over at the shop just picking up some stuff, and probably 2/3 of the people on the street weren't wearing masks. So, it does have us a little worried, but I've got a cleaning service booked as well that does the fogging machine, similar to what they've been doing on the airlines and the trains. So going to try to figure out about having them come in, a couple times a week and just maybe do the main walkway, the bathroom. I mean, we'll obviously be cleaning on a regular basis, but just so that everybody feels comfortable.
All right. Well, of the three of you, did anybody try to take advantage of PPP or any of the other programs that were available?
That's the only reason I was able to bring my employees back, was because of the PPP.
Okay. So how was that process?
Well, it was painful. I mean, I'm on a couple Facebook groups, financial ones and everything. And I mean, I'm not alone. It was a hot mess, and I totally understand why. But I was thrilled to get it. But I'm realizing after being open now for a couple weeks that it's great. I can pay my employees, and it's not I have to worry. They don't have to worry. But it's still not paying my operating costs, because only 25% of it can be used for overhead. And you can't pay your payables with it. You can't, so it was fabulous to get my employees here. It is not taking care of my business. So that's another thing we're working on right now.
Yeah, I know. I talked to my accountant about that, and he said, don't just bring people back and extend your payroll and overpay them and pay them bonuses and do all this stuff just to spend the money to get it back, because it's just going to hurt your operations. If you wouldn't be spending the money otherwise, don't spend it, and take it as a loan, or just don't take it.
So did you get the PPP money?
Mm-hmm.
But that could be forgiven, though. The reason I brought my employees back was 2 of my employees support their families, and they hadn't even gotten unemployment yet because they're so far behind on that.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and brought them back so they could at least count on a paycheck every week. So did you use the PPP or you did not use
I
it?
just got it, so I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with it.
I have the feeling as the weeks continue that the rules for its uses are going to be loosened and loosened. I'm seeing it getting loosened already. I'm sure they just didn't want people taking advantage, but
Right.
I think they're realizing that it's not something that you can fix in 8 weeks and be done. And
No, it's not. I agree. I that's my hope. That's my hope. So I'm just trying to make decisions as I would if whether or not that forgiveness plays a part of it, that I'm just trying to make smart business decisions either way, and then we'll see what happens at the end.
it's day to day for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
All we can do.
All right. Well, Deborah, let's start with you for this next question. Long term, how do you think this is going to affect the way that consumers, interact with your business?
I think that people are going to expect that we have these like additional shopping opportunities outside of just coming in the store. I think that is now like a point of no return, that you need to have a website, you need to have your social media on point, you need to have, I set up a cell phone number that people could call or text anytime, any day, whether the store is open or not. That's not going to be able to go away now. It has been quiet. The last week, I've not had a lot of people taking advantage of it, which is, I guess, good. But I don't see that going away. I want to make sure that we continue curbside, that we continue, all of the in-store pickup options, so that I think that more than anything, it's examining that the way that people want to consume products was already changing, and maybe we weren't changing quickly enough to adapt to that. And so making sure that as a small business that we have every available option to customers, I think is something that is going to continue in the future, and we need to all up our game on.
I agree.
Yeah, and like you said, the extension of private shopping hours, different time. I've already got someone today who is like, I just don't feel coming. She, of course, shipped her 9x12 rug to the store, which was fine, but it's been sitting in the entryway, and I'm like, I need to get out. Coming by later in the evening where she feels more comfortable, like, I'm fine. I only live a mile from the shop. I'll drive over and unlock. But I think all of those, like you said, extended hours, different times. We were typically closed Sundays and Mondays. That's going away. I'll just be open 7 days a week and figure out times for now. I mean, mainly obviously it's to make up for the loss of 2.5 months worth of sales, but I just think going forward, it's just going to be a lot more personal attention. And then, of course, online, I mean, we're uploading a ton. I mean, the whole entire showroom inventory is uploaded to Cherish. I have worked on all the smalls that I can't put on Cherish. Candles, napkins, all of that has all now gone onto our website. So I have spent hundreds of hours uploading to where I'm probably going to need glasses now. My eyes. I am currently using a 42-inch TV as a monitor, so I think I'm going to have to stick with that for now, because using this laptop is a little smaller. But definitely for sure online, people constantly, even though the website's been there forever, is, well, where do I find it? Can you send me the link? Can you text me the link? So I think it's just going to be that constant updating of the website, and then social media to let you know, hey, there's 50 new items on the website, go shop, where people feel comfortable.
I will say, I think it's hard to not bring in your personal stresses and concerns, and some days I just didn't. I feel like I already, as a small business owner, worked so hard to get each person through the door that I get through my door, and then I just didn't have it in me. Even since we've come back and since we're open again, I'm being and I'm probably being a little bit more blasé about it, because I do have, the PPP is paying my payroll, which is huge. That's a huge help. But I'm not really feeling that inspired yet. Usually I'm really good at marketing. We're on top of it every week. We're really working on some, exciting things. And I just don't personally feel that enthusiasm. So I'm sure it gets passed on to my employees and my customers too. I'm still struggling with, because you can't plan a big party in the store. We can't plan what we used to. So I'm just kind of, I'm afraid I'm being a little,
Yes, it is.
probably more passive. If I was this passive all the time, I wouldn't be able to stay open probably, but I'm just I'm not feeling the oomph I need to
call you back. I answered on my cell phone.
Steve, we need you to mute your.
There you go.
Yes.
No, it is definitely hard. Yeah, it is. I mean, you've got to get up every morning. I mean, my big thing was just like every other day. I mean, get up, get showered, and it's tough. It just drags on. And I've gone through all the emotions. I finally stopped watching the news as much, and that because you just got to figure, okay, I've lost these 2.5 months. What do I do? So thankfully, I've got a real fun gal that does my social media. So we're in constant contact back and forth about, hey, what do you think about this? What about that? So that definitely inspires me. And then just all the things like we're doing now, making, watching these Zooms and different webinars, and it's just kind of plan your day. And, thankfully I can go to the store myself and be there. I purposely worked from home just because unfortunately then people were knocking on the windows and waving and trying to get in. And I'm like, I can't, it's shelter. But that kind of helps too. It's like, all right, I'll go to the store real quick. I'll pack some stuff, do some stuff, and at least it gets me out. But it's tough. It is. And if there's going to be a second wave of this.
And I'm seeing what Debra was just saying is we are getting some pretty decent foot traffic in, but it's a lot of people saying, oh, I just wanted to get out, just wanted to come see what was going on. Well, I'm paying my employees to merchandise my store and trying to get new product in because we have the traffic, but I can't keep doing that if people are just coming in to look. It's kind of a tough spot. Like you said, everything is day to day. So right now it's like, if everybody's just coming in to look, once this PPP money runs out, I don't know. I mean, people think, well, you got your PPP money, you're back open, everything's dandy, but that is not the case at all. Would you agree with that, Debra?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like, our web sales were pretty decent throughout the shutdown, and said I was doing things on Facebook. I have a discount group on there and some things, and got some pretty good traction from that. Not like having your store open, but at least, some steady money coming in. And since we opened, it's like crickets. And I think I've had a couple people come in and say, oh, so are you so glad you're open now? And I said, yes, it truly feels really, really good to be open and to try to start getting some sense of routine going again. But I said, I think that the overall sentiment is, oh, you're open now. You're good.
You're good.
Exactly.
Like, no, that's not how it works.
I think I even felt that way to begin with. I felt such huge relief once I found out I got the PPP money. I thought, okay, everything's going to be fine now. And now a couple weeks into it, I'm like, oh, well, no, it's not.
No,
it's not at all. So I am very, very concerned for businesses, small businesses, not just in retail, but in restaurant and service industry. 2, 3, 4, 6 months from now, I think is when we're really going to see the numbers start falling off of people that are not able to make it.
Yeah.
Right, because now that little bit of help that came in is gone, and if the sales are still half or less of what they typically are, and my concern is that summer months are typically slower in retail.
Absolutely.
And one of my locations does much better in the summer than the other two because we have a lot of events, concerts, community, events, things like that. All of those are canceled.
Oh,
that means that we aren't going to have those additional feet on the street. And the opportunity.
You forget how much everything trickles down. I mean, you kind of do forget until you're in the middle of it. And
oh,
you're
yeah,
like,
it's huge.
Oh, my vendor isn't going to get their Christmas in, so that's going to trickle down to me. And then, or having events or anything like that that would create more traffic. I forget about
Right.
those things.
Yeah. And it makes a really big difference. We do like our biggest marketing initiative is pop-up events. Yeah, those are gone. I don't see them happening, and they're a source of revenue. They're 10% of our revenue each year. 10%. That's not insignificant, and I don't see it happening. I'm still having like my holiday vendor or the holiday exhibitor event is asking me for a deposit of like $1,200, and it's not refundable. And they said, well, if we end up not being able to have the event in November, then we'll transfer it to 2021. But
yeah, well, you have to buy and everything for that ahead of time.
Yeah. Oh, and I've already bought some stuff for it.
Yeah.
And that's $1,200 out of my pocket right now when I need the cash. And you can't use PPP money for that.
Right.
So that's $1,200 of bills I can't pay. And then what if they go out of business and we don't have a show this year, and they go out of business and we don't have a show next year? I'm out $1,200. That's, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think. But if we don't have that show, that's a huge loss of revenue. That's a huge marketing initiative for us. We get tons of new customers from that every year that come shop for our fourth quarter and then into the next year. I don't know,
That's why I honestly think right now is not telling for retail at all. I think it's going to be way telling by the end of the year.
Yeah.
For those very reasons.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And just
sorry
to be
a Debbie Downer, Thomas.
Yep. No, and just a reminder for everybody, if you would, please mute yourselves, turn your video feed off if you haven't done so. Well, with people spending so much time at home, you've been saying that there have been a lot of people just browsing basically for now. Do you feel that eventually the tide's going to turn and so there will be some pent-up demand? People have been around their furniture. They've been around, they've had the same wall decor that they've been looking at for months, the same rug. Do you think that there will be opportunities there to freshen things up, once things open up a bit more? Kim,
I'm counting on
let's start
that.
with you here.
I'm totally counting on that.
Yeah, that's been our next series of e-blast campaign and social media, because we carry wallpaper, all the furniture and home furnishings, all that, but that's going to be kind of our next blast to everybody, and somewhat in those, in a cute way, but someone in those, tired of looking at that old piece of artwork, do you want to redo the wallpaper? So we're hoping that will be the next phase. Also, I think, if we do end up, as they're possibly talking, that we're going to go into another wave, we've always pushed to people with their Christmas orders or holidays, we get this on order in July and August because you'll want to get it in plenty of time for the holidays. I think we're going to have to keep backing that up and pushing that even further, is that if you do want things for Thanksgiving and you do want things for Christmas, factories could close down again, delays could happen. So that's going to be our focus these next couple of weeks, is to really just keep pushing that redo aspect.
So you're saying push the fear a little bit? And I don't mean that sarcastically. I mean that I'm saying, hey, this isn't always going to be here probably.
Yeah,
so.
and it almost has to be, because what I'm afraid of is that if my factories do, which primarily most of ours are in North Carolina with upholstery, and if they do want sofas and chairs and ottomans and all that for the holiday, we already seem to get a rush, as you know, and it comes later and later and later, and I'm scrambling in, end of October, November to get this stuff all shipped and get it there in time, and so I'm gonna really try to, at least let people know that, it always becomes busy already. What happens if the factory does close, or trucking companies go back to not shipping furniture but shipping essential items? We had a number of carriers that we're only shipping groceries and medical supplies. And so I had to keep flip-flopping trucking companies to get things out of North Carolina and other parts. So yeah, I mean, we're still playing around with verbiage, and I've got a great gal who actually was an art director who's a client of mine, and she just loves to proofread everything and interject stuff for free, which I love. So I'm always like, hey Liz, can you look at this before?
I think that's actually a smart angle. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not trying to be a hard sale. It's just letting them what if, and we just want to make sure that we can fulfill your orders and your happiness and have your home looking great for the holidays, but we're gonna need to get it going a lot quicker than the normal timeline.
I do find a lot of my sales are affected, obviously cyclically by the stock market, and with that big hit, I also wonder how that'll play into it, because I do see a change from people, buying a new piece of art. Well, they've lost, 25% of their,
I have a suggestion for something that I did. So I don't like to try to guess what my customers are thinking, and
well, that's no fun.
You don't know, right? So my feeling is that I can guess all day long, but why? Yeah. Why don't you just ask them? So I sent out a poll. I use Google Forms, which I love. And I sent it out and did this as not just information that I need, but to gauge my buying. And I also used it as marketing, because I believe in like multitasking whenever possible. So I sent out, if they took the survey, I gave them $10 store credit that they could come in and use towards anything they want. And that way they were motivated to answer my questions. But I gave them a long survey. It was like 40 questions. So this was not like a quick, easy survey, but I wanted to know.
How did you send it to them? By email?
Or? I did an email link. I also still have a link on my, it's the link in my Instagram profile. So if you want to go see what the quiz is, you can go click on it there. I've actually picked up about 15 new customers from doing this, which is great. I've had over 500 people answer this.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of my questions was, I asked about their current design style, and I put pictures in there. I asked them what rooms that they were thinking about redecorating. One of the answers that they could give was they're not doing any redecorating this year. One of them was, I'm just buying seasonal decor. Everyone's going to be redecorating. I had like 70% of people pick at least one room, and I think there was 2% of people said that they were not going to be redecorating. 2%.
So how do you feel about me completely copying everything that you said?
Go for it.
That's a great idea.
Go for
it really is.
And now I know what rooms people are looking at redecorating. I know what colors they're interested in purchasing. I know the budget that they want to be spending. I know now what I need to do. So if you had your shop during the downturn in the 2008-2010 span, people spent money on their homes.
They did.
Because they weren't going out, they weren't vacationing. So if we're not going to be able to travel like we were, if we're not going to be able to do big Christmas parties where there's 200 people, there's going to be a lot more home entertaining.
Yeah.
People are going to want their homes to look great. They're going to want to have some
a lot of dollars
sitting
out there wanting to be spent too.
Yeah, so look at the unemployment rate. I'm I'm one of those positive thinking people. So you're going to get positivity from me 99% of the time. I have my off day every once in a while, but if you look at unemployment rate, so unemployment rate is at 15%, right, which is pretty high. My state is high. However, that means that 85% of the people have not seen a change in their income at all. 85% are still getting their money every single week. They have money to spend. Where have they been spending it? I went to Home Goods over the weekend. Home Goods was busier than Christmas. People are going to spend money.
Let me tell you, my cleaning lady, her husband is the store manager for the Home Goods right down the road from me. Mm-hmm. She said they had their biggest weekend ever. The weekend they opened I think not this weekend, but the weekend before. She said it was a record weekend for them.
I can believe it.
And
because
because
do
they had
shop.
to do social distancing and everything and control how many people were in the store. She said people were staying outside for an hour and a half. Yeah. I'm like, send them down to me.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, so my mom's an interior designer, and she actually saw a pair of lamps there for a customer that she sent a picture to and said, okay, I think I want to get these for you. Well, she had to go back and get them because her client did want them. And she said the line was even longer that day than the day that she and I went. And so, okay, I'm thinking, I haven't gotten anything new in, so maybe my customers don't want it. But this is my slower time typically. I want to make sure that I am ready for fall. I think people are going to shop for, doing their fall decorating and holiday shopping earlier this year.
When are you going to start showing your fall this year? Because normally I wait till 1st of August into July.
Yeah, I am. I typically start putting it out about mid-August when the kids go back to school, because then people are ready. My concern is that I would really like to put it out 2 to 3 weeks earlier, but I don't know if we're going to have it because I don't know if they're going to be shipping.
Yep.
But as soon as I get it, I'm putting it out.
Or if I have paid my last bill with them, that might have a little bit of an effect.
Well, that's maybe true too.
Actually, all my vendors have been fabulous. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
They've been great.
Yeah. So I think it's coming. It's just, I don't know how many people decorate in the summer, or I did have a number of people say that they wanted to do an outdoor space, and that is not something that I typically do, is outdoor space things. So I'm rethinking how I can market some of the things that I do have for outdoor living. Because, that's another thing too, that I've heard a lot of people saying, well, they want to have family over and their family is not super comfortable being like in the same room. Their house is, not really set up for social distancing. However, they can have an awesome fire pit outside and they can all sit around. I mean, I just saw somebody post that their husband had never built anything before in his life, and he built Adirondack chairs around their like fire pit. And I'm like, yeah, because people are outside. So what can we do? What can we sell? As we're all in the business of home accessories, right? So what can we do for outdoor living? Said that's just not a space that I've really explored much, but I'm thinking about it now because of my poll.
Yeah, that's been probably my last 4 or 5 email requests from design clients who we're still working on the inside, but all of a sudden, we're spending a lot more outside. We think it's going to last into obviously to the fall. Do you have fire pits? Exactly. So now I've been going through all my resources, realizing, okay, let's start, getting it up on the website, get some examples in the shop. But I definitely think, outdoor in particular, I think is going to be huge for us this summer and into the fall. Continuing.
Well, and that would be a great thing for you to do then. If you've already got customers asking, like put that in your poll and say, what kinds of outdoor things are you looking for so that you can start sourcing that stuff like yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. I'm serious.
Yeah, no, I've had really good success with polls in the past. That I really like using Google Forms because they're easy to do. They're easy to, you can add photographs to them if you want. You can make it multiple choice. You can make it one answer. You can, I always require an email, and then I made the mistake of my first one of not asking for their name also. Ask for their name because their email might not be their name, and then you have no idea who they are.
Would you suggest putting it? I know you said you had it on Instagram. We have a huge following like on Facebook. Would you?
I put a link on Facebook too. I did a post and just said, like $10 to welcome you back. And we have had good traffic of people coming in because they're like, I got an email from you for $10. And I said, did you take the survey? And they're like, oh, no, I didn't read that. I'm like, well, when you take the survey, I'll give you $10.
That is the bane of my existence. I didn't read it. I'm like, why do I put any words on these at all? Nobody reads them.
No, it's good. And just, thinking through those details of, okay, what kind of information do you need so that you can serve your customers better? And, anything you can think of, put it out there and try to get the answer.
Can you give me an idea of what the age range is of your customer base?
Yes, that was a question I put on there also. So I know. The majority of my customers are actually 45 to 65 years old.
Fabulous. That's similar. I'm similar. A little bit younger, but about the same.
Yeah, and I can sum up 90% are 35 and older.
Sounds very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, while we're talking about opportunities, do you think there's also an opportunity, for additional decorative accessory sales, additional wall art sales, kind of positioning it as Zoom background essentials? Everybody is doing more and more of these, and it's offering people, just a glimpse into their home, a glimpse into their office. Are there opportunities at the retail level or even at the manufacturing level, of additional, sales opportunities there, accentuate your background?
Oh, definitely. And I actually heard a really good idea. I'm glad that you brought that up, Thomas, that I have not implemented yet, but I thought was freaking brilliant, was to tell your customers, do a post on Facebook or send an email and say, send me a picture of your wall and I'll help you decorate it. I'm like, that's so smart. I did a FaceTime call to decorate a bookcase a few weeks ago when we were closed. I'm like, okay, well, why can't we do that? So if you don't want to be going into someone's home, or they don't want you coming into their home because of all of this going on, but I'm thinking this is something that even if we didn't have this extends your bandwidth. Because if you have to drive to a client's house and spend 30 minutes in the car there and 30 minutes in the car back, okay, are you charging your client for that? Well, you should, but you're probably not, right? And then you show up at your client's house and you say that you're charging them for an hour, but you're probably there for an hour and 20 minutes and charging them an hour. So now you can get on a phone call and say, let's do this in 30 minutes, or send me a picture, and then I'm going to schedule an appointment for you virtually, and I'm going to show you what you have, or you can do a mock-up of the wall or the bookcase or the coffee table or whatever it is and show them the accessories you have. I think it's so smart. I'm like, why have I not done this before?
As a free, you would offer that for free, right?
I'm torn on that. I feel like it depends on what it is. If they just are asking a quick question, I would do it for free. But I think scheduling an appointment and charging for that appointment and then giving like a discount or a credit of part of that money back, it just depends on how you run your business. If you truly are a designer and you charge for your design time, charge for your design time the same way that you normally would. I don't, so I would have no problem setting it up and saying it's like $50 for an hour, but I'm going to give you $25 credit if you purchase something, or that way you still get paid for your time and you give them design advice that's not totally free.
I would like to know how Pottery Barn does all their free in-home, because the labor for that, I mean, the hours and hours and hours that they spend in people's homes, and working with them in the store.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure their margins are a heck of a lot higher than mine, but still, I'm curious how a business can sustain that.
And I think it's just comes to a volume game too. I mean, they have so many stores and they just, stuff like that. Money solves every issue. So if you have lots of money coming in, you can get away with a lot more.
Sure. I will tell you, there was a local woman who's kind of a social media guru. She was offering a 30-minute free webinar on Zoom for anybody in Greenville that was a small business owner that wanted to have a 30-minute meeting with her. So we came up with all our questions ahead of time, and it was wonderful. And I have a social media intern with me this summer, but once she goes back to school, I certainly would consider using this lady because she had great information. So I was just kind of wondering, like, it could also benefit you if you did it for free, but I don't know if I would or not. I would be
Yeah.
torn on that too.
Or you could do like a limited number and say the first X number of people that book an appointment get it for free. And then otherwise it's, whatever dollar amount that you choose. I think you can charge less if you're doing it virtually too, because you're cutting your travel time. You can, cut your costs on that a lot. So you can offer something to your client or potential client for a lot better deal and hopefully, create a lifetime value that's huge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are coming up to getting close to the end of the hour, but one thing that I definitely wanted to ask all of you, the summer markets have all been pushed back to August. There's High Point's going to be a little bit longer as well. And this is about the only question in this series where I don't know. How soon do you think you'll be comfortable going back to a market setting? Ken, let's start with you here.
We were scheduled for Dallas, and as you know, Dallas has been, pushed back as well. I think like anything, it's just going to go back to facts and science and numbers. I keep watching, and I hear Texas is increasing. Now, not necessarily noticing is it in Dallas specifically or that, but I think that's going to be our, kind of basis of this is, if things, the numbers are really low and there haven't been reported cases and all that, then we'll maybe make the trip. But I've pretty much decided that I'm probably not going to happen this year, with them sounding as though there could be a second wave. I think we've got such great reps, and there are now at least all these virtual tours and stuff coming out of a lot of the vendors and manufacturers. So I have a feeling that unfortunately it's just going to be, a buying cycle this fall that's just going to be online and, with Zoom calls with reps.
Laurie, how about you? You're sort of positioned, a couple of hours away from Atlanta, a few hours away from High Point. At what point do you think you're going to be okay getting out there?
As of today, I am planning on going to Atlanta in August, but I don't think it's normally we're there about 7 days. I think it's going to be a quick, because we have to order all our spring floral and everything, so that'll take us probably 2 days, and I'm not sure we'll do, because like Ken's saying, you can do so much more online or with your reps, but our floral we have to go touch and see and feel. So for that reason, I am going to probably go for at least a couple days. High Point, I'm still, but that's today. I mean, who knows? Like Ken's saying, we don't know what the numbers are going to be. And I drive to Atlanta, so I'm not having to worry about booking airfare or anything like that. So I can change my mind the day before, except for my hotel. But I am planning on going to Atlanta for sure. I just don't know how long yet.
All right, Deborah, how about you? What does your getting back to markets timetable look like?
Realistically, probably not until January. I feel like it is, my fall and Christmas is 90% purchased already. The vendors that I've not purchased from, I'm very comfortable purchasing with my rep and a catalog, and maybe asking a couple of questions. Hopefully they've seen the product in person so that I can ask about, some details and things like that. But, that is the key time, spring.
When do you normally order your spring?
Like August, September.
Because you got me thinking now maybe I should, I don't know. We usually order, a July market, and now I'm like, I never even considered waiting until January.
Yeah, I just, right now I'm trying to really, really, really watch my expenses. And although I love going to market and I love seeing everything in person, and it definitely makes my buying better. And, I don't just go straight to my normal showrooms and purchase. I do a lot of exploring and looking for new, and so I'll miss out on that kind of thing. But it's expensive. It's really expensive to be away from the store. The hotel is expensive. I drive, but it's, you know, it's expensive. And I don't know that I can really justify that expense for spring. I can justify it a lot better for fourth quarter. And I said most of my fourth quarter stuff is purchased, and the stuff that I have not, I'm comfortable doing from home with my rep.
Yeah.
Although one of my reps just quit, and I'm so sad because she's wonderful.
Reps make a huge difference.
They do.
That segues nicely. That segues nicely. We got a couple of questions from the audience that I wanted to get to. So, you know, since you just brought that up, Debra, let's stay with you. You know, how do you feel about meeting with your reps again?
I am very comfortable meeting with my reps, and I would be happy to do that. Actually, I feel like I probably really need to just take a deep breath and dive in and finish buying what I need to buy for fourth quarter and be confident that people will be ready to do that. It's a little scary to spend more money when I don't know about anything, but I know that I need to. I think people are going to be out shopping and doing, I mean, fall decorating is huge. Christmas decorating is huge. We do a very good seasonal business. And I don't want people shopping for that decor someplace else. So I just need to bite the bullet and meet with my reps. And now I have one company where I can't, so I don't know what I'm going to do because I need stuff from them. So heartbroken. Good reps are wonderful.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Laurie, you know, what about you? When do you feel like you're going to be, you know, okay, you know, having?
I'm fine. You mean as far as the physical contact and all that? You know, I'm fine with that. But you mean having them in the store and everything? But I'm like Debra, I'm just so. And you know, if you've been in retail forever, like we have, you know that really when you're buying, anytime you're taking a chance. But I feel like that now it's just more exacerbated, and it's a very mental game right now that, like she's saying, I just have to go forward. I'm just going to have to not pretend, but if I want to really succeed in my fourth quarter, like I usually do, I'm just going to have to suck it up and hope to God that people show up, because otherwise your numbers aren't going to be there if you don't have the product in your store. So exactly. I am going to have to start meeting. I'm just pulling the trigger is really hard right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even with Christmas dating, it's still hard to think, okay, am I going to be able to pay those, you know, $75,000 in payables on December 1st? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Right. Well, and we don't know what product is shipping either. That's the other unknown, is that, you know, product that I ordered in January, is it all going to get here? I don't know. You know,
I wonder if that's a question we need to start asking our reps, because if not, then we need to start, you know, buying.
I don't think they know the answers. You know, they're being told that, you know, things should be okay, but they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless it's here already.
Right.
They don't know. What about you, Kenneth?
Well,
yeah, I mean, I feel again, like you guys too, I mean, we did all of our pretty much fall and Christmas in January, but again, I usually always use a summer market or that to, again, search out new product and find new stuff to fill in. We're reviewing all of our Christmas orders again, just to make sure, are the quantities right? You know, will they present well, maybe online, and trying to figure out different promotions. You know, so yeah, meeting with reps. I mean, I'm very open, and I've been really reaching out about, you know, stock levels, changing orders, any type of dating and special promotions. You know, there were a lot of special promotions going on when COVID first started, and now I'm starting to see them go away again. And not that I'm asking, you know, the vendors to necessarily take a hit too, but they're going to have to realize that just because we're open and we're back, as, you know, some people say, still doesn't change the fact that, yeah, we could use the extra terms, or we could use the extra discount off or a free freight or that situation. So we're reviewing all of our Christmas this week and then kind of creating a plan for fill-ins for different things. I mean, unfortunately, most of our holiday, Mother's Day was, forget it, Memorial Day. So got to kind of look at, will Halloween be good? Will there be fall things that'll be good or not? But I keep in touch with my reps on a pretty regular basis. And, we've done a few Zoom calls, but then I'm now trying to kind of schedule coming in, reviewing what we already have on the floor, what can be added, etc. So
I will tell you, unfortunately, normally what we go for in July is spring, and we also buy a lot of gift for third and fourth quarter at that time. And I'm not spending any money on gift this year, unfortunately. It's just the ticket price for a $10 item is just not worth me paying an extra night in a hotel, you know what I mean? Or the time of unpacking and putting a sticker on it and paying my employees to merchandise it. I just can't make it work in my head. So we will definitely be focusing on bigger pieces. But I'm not.
And a lot of the bigger ticket lines, thankfully, are doing drop ship programs now. Napa Home and Garden has just created and put almost 880 products available for drop ship.
Really?
Yes, Howard Elliott will drop ship. So you just have to double check to make sure, what are the fees or what are the percentages. But we're really focusing towards lines that can also do that as well. So that takes some of the onus off, at least, of having for us to stock it all as well too.
I'm really curious about the vendors that did started the drop shipping too, like Creative Co-op and stuff. Or what was the other one? I always forget the name of it. Vintage, or it's a big one. I just blanked on it. But I wonder if the retailers made it work, or you know what I mean? If it was worth it.
We've done Melrose started, so I've had 4 or 5 Melrose orders. Left Bank actually just reached out, and Left Bank is doing it as well. So it's just, again, getting all the time together to be like, okay, now I've got to try to figure out how to upload 100.
Yeah, it's another project that I'm not sure. Is it worth the front end work?
Well, and so obviously you're comfortable with giving your vendors your customer information. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just not, because I feel like everyone is changing the way that they are doing business, and now they're going to be direct to consumer. Some of them are already, Creative Co-op has a huge presence on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So, now they're going to collect your customers that shop with you, and they're going to market to them.
Yeah. I never even thought about that.
I'm just not I feel like we have to fight for our market share so hard already. I really don't want to give that to my vendors. Sorry if there's any vendors watching, but I've had a couple vendors ask me if I'm interested, and I'm like, no. Callaloo called me and I said, no, I won't do it.
I remember one thing at market in January was I was wanting to drop every vendor that sold retail. I was really trying so hard to get away from buying from anybody that sells retail, because basically I'm competing against them. And I did keep creative, but I'm not ordering nearly what I used to. And I have one other vendor who I can't think of right now who also sells retail. But other than that, I have dropped every vendor that also sells on Amazon or has their own retail site or whatever.
Right. So do you really want to actually hand them your customer's phone number and address?
About that. I honestly had not thought about that, but that is a great point.
Thomas, that's the next webinar series.
Sorry to be like a douse of cold water, but it just makes me really uncomfortable.
Well, you have to be, the only thing that my business has of value is its customer base. And without that information, I have nothing really. So
I think that's our most valuable asset for sure. Yeah. That, and then our employees.
Exactly.
I'm back.
Well, like Ken was saying, for me, totally the dating and the free freight.
Yeah.
But dating is huge right now, obviously, even though I'm assuming in 90 days my financial situation will be looking up. But
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable doing a $5,000 order today and then knowing in 30 days I have to pay for it. But if I have 90 days, I probably would. So
Yeah, the extension in terms is probably the biggest thing for us.
I agree.
Not even, I mean, free shipping is thankful, thank you, but
the terms are huge.
The terms are huge for us because at least it then also motivates me a little more, and our, and our staff is, okay, we've got this coming in. Who can we sell this to? Who can we get at least the order total sold to, and then the rest is gravy after that. So
I don't think I ever realized until we opened a boutique in our store last year and we changed our name and everything. So now we have a clothing boutique. Well, there's nobody in the clothing business that does terms. And I, for 10 years, had a business that only worked on terms. And it makes you realize how lucky we are because it has so messed up my cash flow. It's my own fault, but I did not realize how much having to prepay for everything screws up your cash flow. So I am very grateful for the terms that we do get.
And I would add to that too, that keep in mind that we are partners and that we all are going to end up taking a hit. We're going to end up having to do some more discounting that we really want to. I'm not a discounter. But I know that my clearance sale is going to have more merchandise than it normally does this year. I'm going to need to, because I need that money. I need to clear stuff out because I missed 9 weeks of sales. And,
I've not been afraid to tell people that if they're wanting to buy 2 chairs that are $500 a piece, and they'll be like, if I both, I'm like, yeah, let's get some cash moving through this.
Right.
I know laugh, and it's a good lighthearted moment, but I'm not ashamed to tell somebody, heck yeah, we need to get some money moving through here.
Yeah. Yeah. And if, our vendors are probably sitting with too much merchandise too. Mm-hmm. And, to come and, I know our reps need their sales, our vendors need their sales, but we need our sales too. So if they can discount and if they can give us extended terms, it really, we just kind of share in that a little bit because we're probably going to have to discount and then we need a little more time to pay. So that is very, very helpful.
All right. Well, I think we are just about there. Real quick, just a couple, 3 sentences, any final thoughts?
Just, as Laurie said, just hang in there and be positive and just try to make, day by day, just make it work, and just know that we're all in it together. So reach out to other fellow people, and if you need to lean on somebody, but things like this definitely help and get us all motivated again and get us back on track.
There's one other business in Greenville that's a home decor, locally owned home decor store, similar customer base and everything, and we text all the time, and she's been a huge help from my really bad, stressful days to just, feed off each other. What are you doing? How's it going? What are you doing? What are you not doing? To have just one person, because, there's not that many small, locally owned home decor stores left, unfortunately. And to have that person in the same town, similar customers, it's been really helpful for me mentally. So don't be afraid to reach out to somebody.
All right, Deborah, send us home.
Oh man, I don't know what to say. No, I think really just, it is taking it day by day and trying to focus on the positive. Like Ken said, I've stopped watching the news because you can't focus on the future and be positive and be the best person you can for your customer if you're focused on the negative. So I think just focusing on the positive, you're not ignoring all of the things that are going on around you, but they're on the back burner. We still need to move on and live life and just live it a little bit differently. So
I will say I've had to do a couple new hires because a couple people didn't come back after we got the PPP money. And it's interesting. I was talking to my store manager how they're seeing a completely different owner than what I normally am. So I think you talking, Deborah, has really kind of encouraged me to get back to being more of because it's hard to not walk around and think in the back of your mind, I have a huge invoice due Monday. How am I going to pay that? You don't. So you've been a very positive person on here. And I appreciate that to kind of get me back to thinking. You have to think positive, or else you're going to walk around just, nobody likes that. No, you don't want to feed that to your employees. You don't want to feed that to your customers. So thank you for the positivity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, I think being positive is a great way to wrap this up. So, Deborah, Laurie, Kenneth, thank you all
Thanks, you
so
guys.
much for your
Very
time.
much.
Everybody in attendance, thank you for your time and for your attention. I hope you got something out of it, and we'll have to do this again sometime soon.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Sharon. Bye-bye.